I thought this McDonald's stunt by Trump was an absolute slam dunk. In fact, I called it in a New York Post column that I found today, probably the best political stunt I've ever seen. On two levels, I argued. One is that it highlighted this claim by Kamala Harris to have worked at McDonald's as a summer job when there's zero evidence other than from her mouth that that's ever happened. No one's ever come forward to say, I worked with her, which is just very odd. She didn't mention it in her memoir. She didn't put it on her resume about 3 years later when she was applying for jobs. All very strange. It doesn't mean she's lying, but it's very strange. But secondly, what Trump did by just going to McDonald's and getting a job there for the day, albeit it was all staged, obviously, was he was attaching himself to probably the most inclusive American iconic company imaginable. You know, there are 13,500 McDonald's in America alone. I think I read that 7.5% of the population of the United States have a McDonald's meal once a year, at least, which is a staggering statistic. And it's a real piece of Americana. It represents entrepreneurism in the sense that, you know, everyone can afford a McDonald's pretty much. And pretty much everyone has a shot if they want it, of running a McDonald's franchise. So it's a kind of brilliant place for Trump to attach himself to. And I just thought his whole interaction with the staff, with the customers and so on, was a brilliant, brilliant stunt. What did you think?
Oh, it was a win across the board in a way that Donald Trump only can get those wins. I mean, that moment where the employee says, you know, I'm ordinary, and he says, no, you're not ordinary, that's Trump being Trump. I mean, not only is McDonald's just a win because everybody's had it and it's going to trigger a certain amount of the MSNBC types because he actually didn't technically get a job and it's a stunt. What it shows is that he really is the man of the people. And it is bizarre, I would say, that an orange man with crazy hair who's a billionaire is more authentic and more real and more of a man of the people than any of the people on the other side who purport to be for the people but actually are the elites. So this is only a win. You could see the absolute joy of all of the people who were showing up at the line, the drive-through line. You could see the joy of the employees, and you could see the joy in Trump. You know, Trump loves to work more than anything else. Trump loves work. He loves success. I genuinely think he liked doing that. And I don't know, somehow they got an apron that fit perfectly, and it worked with his red tie, and his hair is as golden as the French fries. I think this thing was just a win and a win and a win.
Yeah, and actually you can tell how big a win it was just by how much whining is going on from the Dems afterwards. Ameshia,
exactly.
You were laughing at some of Dave's claims there. Did you not embrace the full joy of the Donald at McDonald's?
No, absolutely not. I don't think that a guy who was born with a silver spoon in his mouth who chooses a day to cosplay as a McDonald's employee is something we should be celebrating.
Why
These
not?
are people who've been fighting to have minimum wage. These are people who are fighting to have minimum wage increases, which the Republican Party and Donald Trump is against. This is not a cosplay moment. I didn't see this as any different than I saw it as when Gwyneth Paltrow, the famous actress, decided she was going to go on food stamps for a week. It is a ploy, and in many cases, it's making fun of the very individuals who have to live off of these minimum wages every day.
Making fun
who cannot afford childcare, who cannot afford childcare, who cannot afford cars in many cases, who are having a hard time paying their rent.
Hang on.
Can I finish?
Well, I want to make the point
Can I finish?
I want to
Because I was
react to
making
what
a
you
point.
just said.
At the end of the day, we're talking about someone who does not agree with raising minimum wage. We're talking about a party that has not supported reducing child poverty rates. They did not support extended child tax credits. This is a party that does not care about not only sustaining the middle class, but obviously people who are earning poverty wages. So yes, he went in, he donned a cape, he donned an apron, and now he is supposed to be someone who people who are, you know, living paycheck to paycheck are supposed to be able to relate to.
I think you might be slightly... I think you're sort of overthinking this. You remind me a little bit of Michael Bloomberg, who was sat in front of Trump at the Al Smith dinner the other day, and for 28 minutes managed not to crack any facial expression whatsoever, even as Trump was rattling off a series of indisputably hilarious zingers. And I think it takes a lot of real effort to refuse.
Maybe he didn't find them funny.
Well, it just makes me laugh that Kamala Harris is all about finding the joy in life. There you've got Trump cracking funny jokes, and no one on your side wants to laugh, and we'll come to that
well,
in a bit.
I come from a family where I was raised on food stamps. I come from a family where people work minimum wage jobs. They don't get to dawn for an hour or so to get photo ops and walk away. That's not cool.
I'm just saying, if you can't watch Donald Trump frying fries in a McDonald's when he's never been seen cooking a thing in his entire life, and then serving it to punters as they turn up in cars, if you can't crack a smile and feel what Kamala would describe as the joy of that moment, there's something very humorous about you, isn't there?
Yeah. It's MAGA that keeps getting upset.
I'm thankful that McDonald's hires felons, because they do that in reality as well.
Okay, let me bring in Luke. You want to get him?
Yeah. Well, I will say that MAGA has been repeatedly expressing that they're upset that Kamala is having these fun moments. Oh, she's laughing weird, or stop dancing, there's serious problems. So there's a little bit of hypocrisy there, but I will say this McDonald's thing is the perfect example of how Trump gets away with what he does, because a bunch of people in the media play right into what he's doing, which I agree, a fun little photo op at McDonald's, a lot of people are going to find that likable, ignoring the actual substance, which is he gets asked about the minimum wage, he can't answer it because on policy he's a failure, so he has to rely on these sorts of stunts to get people to like him, and the media finds it so fascinating, so they forget days before the election what really matters.
But to be clear, you did find just to be clear, you just said you found him likable.
I don't find him super likable, but I understand why a photo shoot like this appeals to people. That's exactly what he's trying to do. Distract from the fact that days before an election, he's promising to go after his political enemies with this enemies from within sort of comment. Distract from the fact that he's the most anti-democratic presidential candidate we've seen in...
Okay.